Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be putting the wheels and tires on. I have Jade here, and we're going to kind of demonstrate what happens if you don't use wheel spacers. So what we'll do is we'll put the steelies on first, obviously, and then I will show you guys a before the spacer, which is right here. I got this through wheeladapter.com, and they pretty much space out the wheels about 2 inches because the tires are obviously a lot more wider. Does that help? Yeah, so guys, I may have to buy one more spacer because the wheel looks to be coming it's actually, well, it looks better for some reason. Well, you know what? We'll check it once we load everything up. How about that? It looks really close to that leaf, but let's see what happens when we put the weight on it.
Okay.
And then but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and show you guys this wheel without the spacer. So this is the one that's going to be on the front, and then we'll show you guys without the spacer too. Cool. All right, so if you do not get a spacer, your tires will pretty much be sandwiched together, and you can barely even get the lug nuts on. So let's go ahead and show you guys the after with this spacer. All right, so Jay just said that I should probably go ahead and run a spacer in the rear, because these 12.5 tires are really close to the leaves, and once we drop to the ground, and if I put my almost 2,600 pounds of pin weight on, it could, obviously the tires are going to squish, and it could come in contact with the leaf. So you think about 3/4 of an inch is good?
Yeah, you probably don't need that much.
Yeah.
Just something.
Yeah, just
push it
enough.
out a little bit.
Yeah, it's almost, it's clearing, but it's close, really close. And here it is with the spacer. So we clear, you probably only need 2 inches, but if you go and order one, if you go anything less than 2 inches, you have to cut the stud, so just keep that in mind. So it's been about 3 days since I picked up the truck, and I've driven it probably about 300 miles or so. You have to retorque the back tires, the outers obviously. Something that we did at JC Automotion was we put Loctite on the inners, because obviously, as you guys know, you can't really tighten those up without taking these off. So we did that, but I'm gonna go ahead and drive somewhere really quick so I can show you guys some of the fitment, and if I have a chance, I'll show you guys some of the spots where it's rubbing at. As I said, we didn't do that much cutting. No plastic got cut with this. Now, something I want to have you guys consider is this: Chevy and GMC trucks are different. I have seen on single rear wheels where they do hit this plastic piece right down below there. So that's something to consider. Their wheel wells aren't as curved as these, and they kind of are straight down, if I can remember correctly actually, but for the most part I think Chevy might have better chances of fitting 37s without cutting a lot of the plastic off on the side here. So obviously a lot of people had said in the comment section that I was going to rub and that 37s are a terrible idea, and I can't tell you how untrue that is. Like, I am so happy that I ran with the 37s. I was almost, I don't know, I can't put it in words, but I was so close. I got scared, guys. Like, honestly, I was like, man, like, I still want this truck to be drivable. And when you go 37s, I mean, you're lifting the rear of the truck. That's the biggest issue that you have with, these taller tires, is you're not just leveling the front and that's the only lift you get. You level the front 2 inches and then you're getting 4 inches of tire. So you're really raising these trucks a good bit. But I could not be happier. I will do a lot of videos on this, I promise. Like, driving it, I will have my wife drive the truck because she won't lie to you guys. See, I like stiffer riding vehicles. So for me, I'm not a good example for that. Maybe what I'll do is I'll have a few other people drive the truck too, and they'll give their impression. But yeah, I'm just gonna stop right here so we can kind of see the truck one more time, and then I'll show you guys just the fitment. So there it is again, guys. It seems like a lot of people love the truck, and I'm happy that you guys liked it, because I was hoping it was enough to make you guys feel like it was a different truck. And I didn't want to do anything too extreme. The goal for this build, because a few people had mentioned these, I wanted to make this truck as close as possible to what the manufacturer would probably do. And I'm still figuring out what to do with these. Now, a few people said, paint the tow hooks up front red. I don't like red, so I'm not doing that. But Ford F-150 trimmers have that burnt orange, and I was thinking maybe to paint these, and maybe get a ZR2 badge for the truck, basically, and just have that. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comment section what you think about that. But let's talk about the fitment and we'll end this video. So number one, first and foremost, my truck is not level with the maximum 3 inches. So you might have better fitments if you go the max. I don't know, and I'm not going to do it because I still tow a fifth wheel, right? So I don't want too much of the reverse rake to go away. So I wanted a little bit left over. So I'm at 2 1/4 inches. Now let's talk about rubbing. Do you guys see any cuts right here? A lot of people were like, oh, you're gonna have to cut everything out of there. Listen, before you make a comment, unless you own a truck and you did it, you should probably hold off until you see the finished product. You know, that'd be smart. But yeah, there's no cutting there. Do you see any cut right here? Nothing cut. Now, we did cut the fender liner right there. You can't even tell, honestly. It looks stock. Like, it looks stock. You see that? It looks stock. But there is a bracket, and I'll show you guys some B-roll here, that Jade bent in. I recommended before we start cutting all of it, I would say, hey, let's bend that all the way in. That way, you know, we can get a little bit more clearance. And we bent it as far as we could, and guess what? We had to cut out very small pieces. I'll show that to you right here of the fender liner, and you cannot tell that we cut. Nothing else is cut. Now, again, I won't lie to you guys. You see right there, it's rubbing there. It is rubbing a little bit on the sway bar, but from my experience with running taller tires, once you wear these down, figure about 10,000 miles, they don't rub anymore. My Ram was running about 35 and I think it was like 35.6 inch of tire because it was 295/65, so it's a little bit taller than a 35 by 12.5 if you don't know that. So 295/65 20 is a 35.6, I believe, by 11.5 wide. It's like 11.7, I think. And yeah, there's not that much rubbing, as you guys can see. And then here's just that stance up front. Now, here's the issues that I had. I don't like tires sitting out of the wheel wells. Although it does look really cool on a dually, I like things to look as close to stock, and that's how I built this truck. I wanted it to be as if GM had, you know, pulled it out of the factory. You can kind of see some of that reverse rake there. So 2 1/4, this truck has a lot of rake. So figure 2 1/4 inch level is still, you know, kind of nose low, kind of, but it's pretty level for the most part. But with that being said, I have 2 spacers back here. So you guys saw the inner spacer, right? I showed that one to you. You saw that one. Now let's discuss the one that's all the way in the back. So the one that's between the tires, the inner, is 2 inches. Wheeladapter.com does custom sizes. Because I plan on towing my fifth wheel with this truck, I decided to go ahead and just run an additional spacer, because you probably will have to, because it was really, really close to that hanger on that leaf spring right there. And I got really close. So they have a 1/4 inch, which is what they recommend. I went with a 3/8 inch because I just wanted to make sure if I put 2,500 pounds, 3,000 pounds, 4,000 pounds of pin weight on this truck, I still clear that hanger there. So yeah, I have 2 spacers, 3/8 of an inch, 2 inch. And I'll show you guys some more footage at the shop. We did have to make the holes a little bit bigger because I don't know if they updated the studs on the Chevy trucks, because there was a small gap before we grinded them down, and I didn't like that. And I've like figured we had to do something. Now I'm pretty sure if we, you know, put the wheels on, torqued them down, it probably would have pushed in, but it was just better to just grind them down, all the holes, and then make sure it was nice and flush, you know, with the hub. And that's all we had to do. So figure, whew, I spent about $1,000 on spacers. About $1,000. And you're gonna have to run a spacer, guys, because you can't have the tires sandwiched together because they're gonna heat up and they could blow. But here's just the back stance right there. That is so beautiful. There's nothing more beautiful than a dually like this. and I spent about $3,000 for the tires. Figured the level was probably $1,200 installed. So this was not cheap. And I mean, if you don't want to do all this, if you just want to black out the wheels and go with like a 255, that is a good option too. That's pretty much it. I'll have JC Automotion kind of go over the build, and maybe I'll have them give you like a price if you want to black out everything. Unfortunately for LTZ, you have to get chrome bumpers. So if you want to do this and not have to paint bumpers, you got to go high country. So yeah, I got a lot of videos coming, a lot. I haven't even started filming them, but I've been reading the comment section, and obviously you guys know I'm going to be doing some towing videos. Obviously, a lot of people in the past have asked me, hey, is it okay to do stuff like this in tow? And I never knew the answer to that. That was part of the reason why I did this to this truck, because I wanted to know too. Now, if this truck is terrible and I have to put on a smaller tire, I will. I won't lie to you guys. Like, I like the look of this, but I tow with my trucks. So if it's not great, it's easy to sell 37 by 12.5 inch tires. Like, it's super easy. So I'm not worried about that. And another thing, if I were to put weight down the back, do I need to get either Timberlands or airbags? I'm going to answer that question for you guys too. So that's why I do what I do. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, I do things for you guys. Like, this is something that I built for the channel. It's going to be a rental truck. So if you live in the area and you want to test out a dually on 37s, guess what? You'll have the option to do that. I know a lot of people are like, don't do it, but it's just a truck, guys. If it gets destroyed, it gets destroyed. They got to pay for it. but for me, like, I want to find other ways to make income because YouTube is just not cutting it for me. So if this goes well, I'll buy another truck. Maybe I'll buy a GMC and do the same thing and show you guys fitment. Or maybe I'll buy a Ford F350 or a Ram 3500. All the Rams, there's a lot of Rams like this on the road, but there's no Chevys that I could find. So I'm not gonna ramble anymore. Hope you guys liked the video. If you have any more questions, or if you have any more video ideas you want me to do, I will try to go through the comments and write them down. But like I said, don't worry, towing, ride, comfort, cost for the paint, everything like that, I'll do those. Those are some of the ones that came to mind. And again, I will tow my fifth wheel up a 6% grade. I may re-gear the truck. I've been really considering that. So yeah, and we'll discuss the speedometer too later.